Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
We're back with this round of the Way Home listener mailbag episodes for season 4. And that is all thanks to you, our wonderful listeners, because you delivered in a big way. We received voicemails and emails and messages all over the place about this first episode of The Way Home. So here we are discussing your thoughts, your theories, your questions ahead of episode 2 dropping this weekend on Sunday.
I got to tell you, I read most of these emails, but I read one and I was like, yep, I believe all of that.
Yeah.
So here we are again.
Here we are.
I'm so easily influenced by other people's ideas.
Oh, me too.
So, and they make sense to me.
Me too.
Some of them,
yes. Our first email is from listener Aaron, who says, hello, I've watched The Way Home since the first episode aired on Hallmark and have theorized the whole series. It's fun seeing what plays out and what doesn't. In season 1, I had figured out the Finn twist pretty early on. Last year, I sent you several emails on theories. Some played out and some didn't. I've rewatched the series wholly twice this last year. I am impressed,
Me too.
Aaron.
Me too.
So here are my theories after watching this first episode. Number 1. The Landry that left baby Elliot is Alice. It has always looked like Alice that jumped, but that's not the reason why I believe it necessarily. I believe it will happen on another one of her quick and unexpected time travel stops, like mailing the letter, seeing Colton that last time, and when she pushed herself in the water. I think this will be another one of those quick stopover trips where she'll quickly realize what she's there to do. Leave Elliot safely on the side of the pond, knowing that an earlier version of herself will be there shortly to take care of him and put him at Colton's door. She will be the only one that can say confidently that Elliot was safe on both ends of that drop. The one who jumped into the pond is built like Alice, wears jeans like her, and she also has long hair ruling out Kat. I think they want us to think it was Tessa to feel justified in being angry with her for Elliot's sake. But I think as the series progresses, we'll see that it wasn't a callous move, but one to save herself from danger and maybe Elliot too. Elliot said he didn't want to know, didn't care about which Landry helped, but I think knowing it was Alice will soften his heart.
This is the email I read. And I was like, oh, yeah. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be easily explained.
Yes, there's nothing about that I'm pushing back against.
Not at all.
And in fact, in episode 1, we were like, okay, but they're just hoping someone comes along. Mm-hmm. And this does explain that. Right. Alice knows because she already did it.
Exactly.
As to why Alice was responsible for leaving baby Elliot there remains to be seen, but I think it's tied to a hasty departure by Tessa, with Alice bearing the suitcase when Tessa has to leave to escape whatever. Obviously, Alice knew of the perfect spot of which she'll remember in a trip back to help Tessa.
I read that. I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah. Right? Because why would Alice... In that episode, she was like, I know the perfect spot. And I just thought they were like, she was like down by the pond. And the pond was a perfect spot. She is by the pond, right? Like a rock by the pond.
Yeah, but in that episode, she hasn't buried it yet.
Right. No, in the first episode, she's getting ready to bury the
No, I know, but
capsule.
she hasn't buried Tessa's suitcase yet.
Oh, she hasn't buried
She
Tessa's...
hasn't had the experience of doing that yet.
Yeah, but so is it just something in her subconscious that she's like, I know of a perfect spot?
Maybe. Or is it that the pond just has significance for her and she wants to bury it near the pond?
Exactly.
The Alice books. I think the Alice books that Jacob sent her are her books, just newer versions, somehow brought through the pond. Notice the page that had the inscription in the new book was gone in their current one. Alice ran her hands over the page to see if there was an indentation of the written words in her copy. Plus, she discovered there was an actual page missing. No explanation as to how the books could have wound up in Cole's possession in 74, but maybe we'll find out. Maybe another totally random time capsule is in the works, but somehow in reverse. We already know objects can go through the pond: clothing, business card, clock, maybe not the clock. We're not sure about that yet.
I feel kind of like I'm patting myself on the shoulder because I was like, yes, I totally picked up on her, like looking at like the missing page and rubbing her hand over like the indentation of the printing or whatever. Now, how those got there and why, I don't know. That makes my brain hurt.
Exactly. This is the point where my brain starts to go, I don't know. I need a timeline to understand when all of these things are happening. In spite of having seen it, it does get jumbled.
Yes. And you know what I also really like is all these things Alice is experiencing, but she doesn't tell anybody. Like, Alice is in deep, right? Mm-hmm. But she doesn't go to her mom and say, like, oh, I noticed in these books, like, a page is missing. Like,
she's going to wait till she has something more concrete.
That, or she's the big piece of the puzzle, but she's not, like, revealing everything. I wish, like, we had, like, an internal, like, dialogue of, like, Alice a little bit, just so we could know what she was thinking instead of just we're just seeing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Erin finally says, I don't think we should discount the meaning of the clock just yet. Season 1 also references clock tinkering between young Jacob and Colton.
I do remember that. I think I remember that.
Erin ends with a question. Who is the one that Grandma Fern referred to? She said that she thought Colton's brother was the one, and maybe Colton was, but he broke the rules. I think the one is either Kat or Alice. But what is the point of the one? Are they to fix something? Right some Landry wrong from the past / time traveling? If you had to guess right now, Wendy, who do you think is the one?
I think Alice is the one.
I think so too. Not because I know anything.
Yeah, me too. I don't know anything, nor can I explain it.
But I think she is a central character in this entire show.
Agree.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that we're using Alice in Wonderland as these books.
Right. Oh, I gotta just tell you, it does make me sad that the show is going to end this season because I don't want it to. I think we could have Alice just move away from the pond and still have some sort of story to unfold.
You know, this was a discussion in our Facebook group. Would you want this series to be picked up by another streamer?
That's a good question. I will tell you, when I sat down to watch episode 1 last weekend, part of me was like, okay, maybe this has gone too far. Maybe this is too convoluted. Mm-hmm. Maybe the initial story of just Jacob's missing and his discovery should have just been it. Mm-hmm. I thought about that. But when we get into it, I'm like, I feel like there's more here. And yes, I would love another streamer to pick it up.
That's how I feel too. In the Facebook group, I said, it's really going to depend on how this season plays out. Uh-huh. Do I feel like there's more stories to tell? And I feel like going into this season, there are many more stories to tell than we could possibly wrap up in a single season.
I know.
I think we could continue telling these stories. I would like to share, back when The Way Home was canceled, I messaged Alexandra Clark on Instagram.
The writer-creator.
Yes. And I basically said, not basically, my exact response was, this might be a stupid question, but is it your hope that the show will get picked up by another network? And if so, how can we support that? And at the time, she did not respond. Mm-hmm. This past weekend, she responded and basically saying, I'm so sorry for not being able to answer this incredibly kind question. She goes on to say, we've been so incredibly grateful to Hallmark for the 4 seasons they had given us to explore our story and our beloved characters. But when it comes to saying goodbye to family, you're always going to wish for those 5 more minutes. I don't think any of us will ever give up hope of finding a way forward together.
What does that lead you to believe?
Well, I don't believe that there is anything that we don't know yet. I don't believe that they're already in talks. That's not what I think she's saying.
You don't think so?
No, I think she's saying, you know, Hallmark has done a lot for the show, and they have. They gave them 4 seasons. I think she's not biting the hand that feeds her. Mm-hmm. But I also think she's saying, if Netflix made us an offer, that door is not closed.
Got it.
And this show has built an audience on Netflix. And I'm starting to see, what I love is when I see people outside of the Hallmark community recommending this show. Mm-hmm. It makes me so happy.
Yeah, I have a friend who does not watch Hallmark, and then she came to me, she goes, oh my God, I started watching this incredible show on Netflix. It's called The Way Home and blah, 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 blah. And then I realized it said on the screen, Hallmark. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, thanks for listening to the podcast. But I was like, yes, it's incredible. You should watch it. And I was like, and season 4 starts, you know, this was a couple weeks ago. I'm like, and season 4 is starting soon. So
yeah,
she doesn't have Hallmark or Hallmark Plus or anything like that. So
it'll be out on Netflix later this year.
So, yeah. Our next email's from Francisco. Francisco is a regular listener, but like he came in real hard last year with he was kind of the person responsible for Mailbag, I feel.
I agree with you.
What I love about Francisco is he doesn't hold back his annoyance with Kat. So I'm excited to see what he has to say here. He starts off, keeping with my usual, I'll hit on what Kat's doing. She, by and large, seems normal so far. There was a moment when Alice finds she's trying to time travel after Elliot says he's not interested. And I thought, not already is she going to fix things on her own. Luckily, it wasn't her time to go, so nothing happened. I do want to know more about that creepy photo bomb, though. What photo bomb
I
is?
think he's talking about the film reel bomb, where she pops in.
Oh, yeah. When young Fern is doing her audition and Kat comes in, yeah. Did I do that? I just, who do you think they see? Have we talked about this? We think it's Sam, right?
Maybe.
Kat's reaction.
Yeah, they're afraid of this person.
Yeah, you think it's afraid or shock? I can't remember exactly.
Oh, in my memory, it's fear, but I don't remember.
That's how I feel too. Like it was fear, but what if it's shock? Like she's like, Sam, what are you doing here?
But Fern looks shocked too.
Yeah, but maybe Sam is a threat to Fern.
Because Kat runs in like she's got to save her.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's all silent too, which
Yeah.
is crazy. Okay, Francisco goes on. When I heard Brady was back in town, I automatically cringed. Turns out I was proven right. He's back to being a bigger tool than he was in season 1. Go back to Minnesota and don't let the door hit you on the way out.
I agree.
You don't like Brady?
God, he's such a blowhard.
Kind of. I appreciate that he's co-parenting.
I appreciate that too. He's a perfectly fine dad. I just don't think he's a cool person to be around. He and Elliot get in these D-swinging contests.
Totally.
I'm tired of it.
And isn't it so funny to be like, what, Kat, what were you drawn to him for? Other than maybe...
Yeah, even young Brady, I didn't find particularly... He came off as smarmy to me.
Yeah. Uh-oh, I see my name in the next paragraph. Okay. Francisco writes, I have to take some real issue with Wendy regarding Elliot. I'd be upset too if my mom just abandoned me. I mean, sure, he was found and had a good life, but emotionally, the initial thought was to hurt. Okay, this is all fair. But I can't help but clown on him a little bit when he's like, the bond didn't take me. Just is funny. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know. I'm going to get really mean emails from people.
Well,
I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for Elliot. We all know it's going to work out, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably weren't giving his trauma its due.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's all going to work out in terms, if we think about Aaron's email,
I think it's going to work out too. I think the fact that he has the woman of his dreams and he lives this beautiful life doesn't negate the trauma of your mom being like, I'm going to peace out on my baby boy right now.
But what's going to happen is Elliot is going to come to the realization that his mom was in danger. She did not abandon him.
I agree with all of that we're going to get a good reason. But right now, Elliot doesn't have any knowledge of what that reason could possibly be.
Yeah.
All he knows is he had to grow up with his POS father and his mom left him behind.
Yes. Also, that dream he had with the axe, which you didn't mention. Yes, we did mention. We talked about it. Because I talked about how Elliot looked good when he woke up.
I thought it was a mallet.
I thought it was a mallet, too. I thought it was a throwback.
Like a sledgehammer.
Yeah, when he was doing
Breaking
the
through the
renovations.
walls.
Yes. Francisco writes, it seemed really creepy. Turns out The Way Home will start like a Hallmark show and end like a Lifetime movie. I don't think so. I disagree. I did feel bad for Elliot at the end, though, after finally coming to the conclusion he wanted to go back and not being able to. I didn't feel bad.
We know.
Sorry. I had no real dog in the hunt between Max and Noah. They both seemed decent. I'm just glad it wasn't Nick. I think the being unsure of the song choice was simply showing Alice was still trying to find her voice, or what Max said about believing in herself. I also think Noah wasn't at dinner for any number of reasons, like Brady, maybe.
Also, it's maybe too expensive to pay him to be there. That's entirely possible.
Yeah, you really think he was it was a budget issue.
Well, I don't know. I think it's weird that her boyfriend wouldn't be there. So that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Is Hallmark's like, someone's got to go, and we need Max here to build this love triangle.
Perhaps. Or maybe Noah's time traveling.
He's not a Landry. He's not related to Alice.
He's with Tessa somewhere out there. No, Tessa's not a Landry either.
No, see, this is where we have to be real careful about getting too outlandish with our theories.
I know.
Baby Jane Doe is a time traveler.
Like, it's episode 1. Sam is definitely suspicious, and I really want to know his deal. I also want to know more about Griffin. If, for instance, he was the Landry who jumped in the pond with Tessa. I don't think they're the same person, though. Oh, Francisco doesn't think Griffin and Sam are the same person.
No, he does not.
I think they are.
I think they are because I can't figure out who else Sam could be, but...
The final paragraph says, okay, with Dell, there was one thing that I want to know about that you didn't discuss. Oh, yes. When she's in the kitchen with Rita and Sam and Rita turns on the music, Dell remembers something that sounds like a pretty violent argument where she's being told to leave. Do you recall? Do you recall that from the episode?
I do, and we didn't see it. It was just an auditory memory.
Right. Also, I do think we'll see Jefferson Brown in memory of hers, though. I think they showed something in the previews, if I'm not mistaken. Back to that. She hears that song and has the memory, an auditory memory. Who do you think's yelling in that? Is it she and Colton fighting?
I don't know. My notes just say Dell is taken back to a memory and she hears yelling, but we don't see anything. So I don't know. Her parents, maybe, her parents.
Oh, yeah.
They were having trouble and sent her away. Don't know.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any thoughts? Additional thoughts?
We also heard from someone else saying that Jefferson Brown is in the previews for this season, so he will appear.
Fan-freaking-tastic.
Marlene writes, I haven't written before, but I enjoy your podcast.
Hey.
Just listen to your The Way Home episode 1 recap. Just letting you know that the music the clock played after Elliot put it in motion is Beautiful Dreamer. That's the same song Fern sang when Kat met her for the first time. Kat said she didn't know the tune. It was before her time. It's when Fern told her she has to ask the right questions, and Fern left her in the kitchen with the Madelines to take a nap. It's also funny how Kat calls Elliot her best friend when she was the same age that Alice is now. Now Alice calls Max her best friend, but she's with Noah, as Kat was with Brady. Could Alice's future involve both of them in different years/decades? Don't know. Just trying to second guess the show and writers. She says, thanks for the fun podcast, but I do recommend rewatching the series. I think the next 9 episodes are going to be a roller coaster ride with lots of tiebacks to previous seasons.
If I had the time, I would. And I want to. And maybe after this season, I'll go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
I want to say I am impressed with those who really know the series. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I hate it when we say we're dummies and we don't know what we're talking about. We're supposed to be the insightful The Way Home podcast.
I would like to know if those who are watching The Way Home so closely also watch as many Hallmark movies as we do.
Sure, you're right. It's not a competition. Some people are very good at recalling those details and making those connections. What I would think would be interesting, there were a lot of parallels between season 1, episode 1 and season 4, episode 1. Mm-hmm. And I think Marlene is right that we're going to see a lot of callbacks and references to earlier seasons. And I wonder if they're going to be specifically tied to specific episodes. Because it would be fun to have like a rewatch guide. Like before you watch season 4, episode 2, watch season 2, episode 2, right? I would, or just watch all 3. 30 hours of TV, ready, break. I have a voicemail. You want to hear it?
Sure. Unless it's mean, I don't want to hear it.
It's kind of mean.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
You've already heard it.
I have? Okay, let's hear it.
Hi, ladies. I love Girls Gone Hallmark. I just listened to your The Way Home recap, and one of you kept saying at the end of the show that things had to be a coincidence, that the writers couldn't have known it. Like, Show Me the Way to Go Home, which, by the way, my grandfather used to sing, was written in 1925 and in Jaws in 1975 and had connections throughout the show. Why would you think that you could learn that, and the writers couldn't. Writers do tons of research. Of course they know all the connections, especially with The Way Home. They do connect all the dots in the end. Anyway, I love your recaps, and I love The Way Home, and I look forward to many more discussions.
The tone was kind of mean.
Here's what I think. I think if you recall that discussion, you said, I don't want to assume this connection because we're not in the writer's head.
Yeah.
But you said, could that possibly be a coincidence? And my exact line was, it's pretty coincidency. Like, sure, it seems entirely possible that the writers could have had that information. I'm not discounting it. We just don't know. We don't have a direct line to them.
My whole investigation started at the title of the song that was used, and then the internet told me that it had appeared in the 1975 movie Jaws. Yes, I don't know. It feels a little bit of I don't think regular people watching the show are Googling the title of the episode
I don't think so either.
To find these like hidden Easter eggs. I really don't think they are. That's why I was like, maybe there's a connection there, or maybe it's coincidence is what I'm saying. Do I think the writers might be purposely doing that? Sure.
Yeah, and I also think the title of this episode 1, Show Me the Way to Go Home. This is a show called The Way Home. I'm envisioning them being like, let's find a song that's about like going home, the way home. They come up with this song title and they're like, what's that about? And then they realize, oh, it has a 1975 connection. Perfect. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
Sometimes these things are backward engineered that way. They're not like, I need a song from 1925 that became popular. Sometimes it's a coincidence on their end too. They're like, this is perfect.
Yeah. And by the way, it was me, Wendy, who had that.
Yeah, but it's interesting to note those things. Because you're right. Most people aren't like, oh, let me pull up all the details about this.
I'm telling you, I can't win. Either I'm not doing enough or I'm doing too much.
This is the problem when people start listening to your podcast.
Oh, BTW.
Oh, no.
Total side note.
Oh, no.
Listener survey. There was some criticism about we got to be too nice after our podcast got popular. I was like, whose podcast is popular? They surely are not talking about us. Guys, let me share the download information with you.
Hey, we are spectacularly popular. The number 2 Hallmark podcast. Claim to fame.
Oh my gosh. I really want to do a recap of the listener survey. I know we are. We just haven't had time.
I have it all written up.
We haven't had time on the actual published schedule.
I know. We're pushing out 6 episodes this week, 5 or 6 next week. It's going to come out in a few weeks when there's an empty day in the schedule.
Yes. Can we move on?
Please.
I feel hurt right now.
Well, you shouldn't, because the next 2 are such they're all good, but the next 2 are like our homies. So
fantastic. This is from homie number 1, Lance. Happy The Way Home returns week. Your recap of The Way Home episodes continue to be a highlight, as much fun as the show itself.
Almost. I'm just kidding, Lance. I'm just kidding.
I'm typically walking the dogs when I listen, and I never remember to send an email when I get back home. Just know I write dozens in my head every year. This time I had to comment. What?
Lance, we have a voicemail. Just ring-a-ding-ding on your walk.
Put our phone number in your contacts. Just leave us a voicemail, like as you're walking. I don't care.
Put that AirPod in and chat away. We'll hear the wind.
Yeah.
The birds in the trees.
Picking up a dog poo.
Your dog, exactly. The rustle of a dog bag.
Can't wait. What's that phone number, Megan?
949-329-8090.
I'm hoping we get a voicemail from Lance next week. He goes on to write, this time I had to comment on the similarity between your Volkswagen brainstorm and a similar thought I had.
Herbie the love bug.
Right before you started talking about the flying love bug, I was thinking about them waterproofing the Volkswagen bug and driving it into the pond. Maybe visualize something more like Mary Poppins than Harry Potter. Yes, I remember the love bug. Probably saw it at the drive-in with my parents. Thanks for keeping the recaps coming. I appreciate them, and I always laugh out loud at least once per episode. Once?
At least once.
Almost says fun at least once. Okay.
And like I said, sometimes we're in the mood to take things personally.
I'm just going to walk out of this life. Never come back.
Our next email is from Eric, who says, "Hi, ladies. I love your recaps of The Way Home."
Is this Eric from Iowa?
Indeed, it is signed Eric
what's
from
up?
Iowa. Lady has bad news for you. Did you notice at the end of the episode when Alice is reading the letter to her future child out loud, and we see Jacob sitting on the bench in Toronto, right when Alice says, "Family is walking with you," two people are walking past Jacob who looks suspiciously like teenage Colton and Dell, right down to Colton's blue and black flannel. Maybe I'm imagining things and it's nothing, but the visual with that specific line seems too perfect to be a coincidence.
Be careful with coincidence. It's a real trigger for some people. I'm going to pull up the episode right now.
I'm so glad.
I'm dying to see. Where can I watch it at? Screeners?
Wendy's a boomer over here trying to figure out how to pull up the episode. I don't think so. Does that guy look like he has a ponytail? Also, how would teenage Colton...
It's not a ponytail. It's short hair.
Oh, it is? How would teenage Colton and Dell be in the future? Or is Jacob in the past? No, because he's reading a letter from Alice. Look, I love the theory, Eric.
He's not reading. He's looking at his text messages from Kat about...
Oh. Well, then how would teenage Colton and Dell be in the future?
I don't know. We know that at the beginning of the episode, it says the future.
I understand that, but I don't think they time traveled. I know they're coming out of the pond. I think they're returning from somewhere. I think we're seeing a flash forward, not future time travel. I think we're seeing Kat and Elliot's wedding day, and the three women have just returned from somewhere through the pond.
I had some thoughts about that scene. If we can move on from Eric's email.
Keep them coming, Eric.
Yeah. I was thinking back. Remember how we were going back and forth about like what exactly was said? Was it he or she?
Yes.
Or her? Could it be that we're talking about Colton? I wish Colton was here for this.
Yeah, of course.
Because Kat's getting married to Elliot and then, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that's all.
Yeah, my thought is that they did not time travel in that scene. Time travel to the future.
I think it'd be cool.
I think so too, but I also don't think we're going to change the rules of the pond at this stage in the game, just to suit the narrative. Nate and Heather left a comment on YouTube. "I think Jacob is going to the city and he will run into Sam. I still think that there might be something up with the person that Sam put away in prison. Could be a reach."
Oh, yeah. I had forgotten about that.
What do you think about Rita mentioning her Port Haven Ghost Stories podcast and that she wants to do a podcast in the Lingermore tunnels? She mentioned the events that happened there. Maybe Kat is going to be a part of it and the silent film clip is connected. So excited this show is back.
I was hoping like they find, you know, Thomas down there in the tunnels. But,
Lingering.
yeah, just the ghost of... No, he just... I don't know. Please.
You just want Chris Holden Reed back on your screen. Yeah, that wasn't accidental, that discussion we get with Rita and Lewis.
No, it wasn't accidental. It was pretty funny. I was like, she has got a podcast. Welcome. Our final email is from Glenn, and this was a message left on YouTube. He writes, "I figured Griffin did come back just later, like early 80s. He was the person that the older Colton, we do see Jefferson Brown this season, he's in the preview, ripped from the photo of Dell, Colton, and Tessa. And Griffin's the one who takes Tessa to the pond. Tessa buried the suitcase to make it appear she had left, by normal means, to Vic. Sam really is a mystery inside an enigma." Do you remember? It was either last season or the season before, and we were so heavily in on the news conference, and it looked like an 80s background, like the TV was in that 80s.
We never really got any clarity on that, right?
No.
And you and I dug all in on the book.
Yes. God, what a bunch of dummies. Anyway, what if it is Griffin and it is in the 80s and... I don't know.
But it doesn't make sense, though. The conference wasn't happening in the 80s because that was a news conference from Jacob returning home. He was just in a dated home watching it.
Oh, yeah.
A quick comment from Spotify from Hannah. She says, "Ladies, my wife just pointed out to me that Jacob is in Toronto. Sam went to Toronto when, quote, visiting his grandkids last season."
How far is Toronto from
Port Haven?
fictional Port Haven.
Well, I don't know. We don't know where Port Haven is, so I can't look it up. There's water. So they're on the east, and Toronto's on the east.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, I do believe that there's some connection between Jacob in Toronto and Sam going to Toronto. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any sense for Jacob to not be in Port Haven. Like, Okay.
Hey, thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark. If you want to participate in future listener mailbag episodes after watching The Way Home this weekend, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us hello@girlsgonehallmark.com, or you can leave us a voicemail 949-329-8090. We'll be back on Monday with a recap of The Way Home Season 4, Episode 2. Goodbye, y'all.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.